Welcome to the first ever voiceover intro for No Pots, No Casters. Hopefully this never happens again. We forgot to introduce the guest on the original recording, so this is me introducing the guest. This week we're talking to Sean Patton. You could call him a local boy made good. Mostly we talked about stand-up, so if you like the inside baseball shit, this is the episode for you. It was fine. It'll be fine.
But yeah, so I got up, didn't go to Camellia Grill, and then went and had my ears waxed. That's right.
Oh, professionally?
Yeah, every 5 weeks I do it.
What does that mean?
It means they put wax on my ear and yank the hair.
That's amazing. Oh, wait, wax.
Yeah,
I
wax.
thought it was like a procedure to like remove earwax.
Oh, no.
No, that
Yeah, I was
doesn't make
wondering
sense.
if that's
I
what
get
it
it
was.
hair, like hair.
Because
like
I heard
wax.
wax. Okay, just,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I know, yeah.
First they remove
for
the
you.
earwax, and then they use it to wax.
To wax.
So
To
exactly.
wax.
Which
No, I understand now
why
it's a
it's there.
cosmetic
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one, like, as far as hair growth is concerned, like, I still have my hair on my head, and I probably will never lose it because everyone on my mom's side has hair. I don't have back hair. I don't have shoulder hair.
That's fortunate.
People assume that because I'm a hairy guy from the neck up that I'm just covered.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm a pretty, as far as hair growth is concerned, it was, nature took it easy on me except my ears.
Mm-hmm.
I grow hair on my ears, and it bothers me.
Where does it grow?
Like on the lobe, and it
Okay. Yeah.
inside a
Inside.
little bit. It's not that much, but it's enough to where I can feel
I noticed
it.
that on people.
Yeah.
I've never noticed it on you, but
People can look however they want to look, but I do appreciate that you take care of
I
that. Because that
appreciate
shit
that.
sucks to look at.
There you go.
I'm so
It
sorry.
bothers me. That's why I've had long hair for so long, because it just covered it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Works.
But now it's like, nah, fuck it. I get it waxed, and it hurts, but it wakes you up. And that's why I was here, because after the adrenaline of having my ears waxed, I was like, I'm going to get down to the goddamn Bywater and podcast.
How do they prepare you for that? Are
They
like,
don't. I mean,
where do you go?
sneak up on you?
I
and just
go
pay
to
someone
I go to a
surprise
place
you?
here on Magazine called Waxing in the City, which is
I've
owned.
gotten a Brazilian there.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
You know the guy who owns it is a comedian.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's,
Yeah. Wes.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard that while I was getting my pussy waxed, someone was like, "Oh, you do comedy?" Because I talked about it because I'm an asshole. And then she was like, "The person who owns it's a comedian."
They didn't just
Yeah.
see your pussy, and they were like, you got to do comedy. This is...
I mean, I'm with you. I often 9 times out of 10, I've been a doctor. I've been a environmental lawyer. I've been a business consultant. I've been a fucking army vet. I've been a cop. I've been so many things except for a comedian when talking to strangers.
Right, yeah.
I just don't
I
want to
just
deal with.
accidentally start talking and telling the truth because I'm like really I just accidentally because they ask you questions and then you just start talking but you know what, it's fine because you'll never talk to them again and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, but sometimes it's torture. You were outside of the Dragon's Den show, and I heard that like crew of young guys that were coming, and they were like, "Are the comedians any good?"
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, "Yes." But in my head, I'm like, "What? Why is that even a question you're gonna fucking ask?"
Oh, that's the most asked question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just start answering it just completely.
Go fuck yourself.
just
Vince will just be like,
"Nah,
"Go fuck
they're
yourself."
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just pigs. Because it's but anyway, like that's. I don't know. I that one time though where I tell someone I'm a comedian, we get into it, and this she was very delicate with my ears, which I'm not used to because I go to these Russian women in New York who don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like half the time, I'm wondering if they're even using wax.
Right.
They're not just like
in
pinching
there with
the
their
ribs.
hands.
Yeah.
Fucking...
Like the first time I went, and Marta, my main lady, she says to me, "Your hair, it fight back." She's like, "Yes, thank you, Marta. You've got my business for life." But
Have you seen Rocky 4? If he dies, he dies.
if he dies, he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's her.
That's
She's
Marta.
the Ivan Drago, and my hair is just a bunch of Rockies that just won't. It will not stay down.
It means you got life, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
your hair's fighting back.
Or I'm 40, and men grow ear hair more.
Have you made 40 yet?
I am 40. That is
Oh.
a month ago. Yeah.
Oh, happy
Congratulations.
birthday. When's
Happy
your
birthday.
birthday?
November 16th.
Nice.
Social security number.
So, part of me wants to just give it to you, see what happens.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I was about to say spice it up a little, but then it's like, nah, I don't want. I don't need that kind
Yeah,
of
that's
spice.
a horrible idea.
Yeah.
That's what, every time Emeril Lagasse writes his social security number, he says Bam.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
I would hope, man. He's got to do something for himself.
And speaking of Emerald,
He's so selfless.
We were kind of talking about this earlier. I gotta say it, and it pisses people off sometimes. I can't get down with you if you're that big, if you're a huge food snob. Like the people who like get angry about, like, for example, like Chicago, like putting ketchup on a Chicago hot dog, or like this recent pineapple on pizza debate. Where it's like, where have you been for the past 30 years? Because it's been around since the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
But also, who gives a fuck?
Who cares? You just ate that.
I just had a slice of Hawaiian and it was
love
good.
it.
Yeah, I don't care
good.
what people eat. It doesn't bother me.
But some people really care and judge you, or you don't know anything about life in general because you don't realize that you have to dip the anjou, dip it in the anjou, not just pour it over the whole sandwich. I'm like, who fucking cares?
Did you ever talk to like a hot sauce guy? A guy who's like the main thing is just like the really hot sauce, or just like someone who just wants to tell you that they can handle spicy food.
Right.
And it's like, I couldn't be less impressed.
That guy that does the Hot Ones show, you know, that Hot Ones YouTube show? Have you done that show?
The Hot One? No, I haven't, no.
I was just about to say, that is the smuggest motherfucker I've ever seen, because he like just has a high capsaicin tolerance, and then he just like, it's like the most, it's like asserting dominance or whatever. He's like has Bill Burr on the show or whatever, and Bill Burr's like crying and vomiting, and he's just like, you see? I'm the hot one.
It's so funny. It means
like
nothing.
wax, you know. With,
I remember that episode.
Yeah,
when he hallucinates.
Yeah, Johnny Cash Spirit Guide.
Yeah,
love that episode.
That's. I mean, hot sauce guys to me are like death metal fans. It's like it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same. I get it.
This would have impressed me if I was a child.
It's fucking hard.
Wow, it's so spicy.
Dude, my mouth is twisted. I got a fucking fucked up mouth.
Yeah.
Now
you just burned all your taste buds off.
Yeah.
Is that real? Can you do that?
No.
Do your taste buds get damaged?
Isn't that what spice is? Is it like it's like a actually just burning?
Yeah, it's like when your earrings.
It binds to the parts of your tongue that sense temperature and tricks it into thinking that it's experiencing heat.
Okay.
So you're not actually burning anything.
But you do get desensitized.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The longer you eat do you get desensitized the longer you eat spicy food? Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I was on a farm once, and the guy it was like a wolf type situation. So the guy I was replacing apparently was like a complete dipshit, and they grew ghost peppers to make like salsa, and he just he was like stoned all the time, and he just ate a ghost pepper, and he vomited and then passed out in the vomit immediately.
Jesus Christ!
You know,
that's why.
I don't know.
There used to be a thing that the guys, the Portland crew, the Portland comics did called Spicy News, which was a really funny thing where you would eat. It wasn't a ghost pepper, but it was of that ilk. It was a spicy ass pepper. You would eat one of those and then have to read the news like you were an anchor. Right? And it was like, oh, that's funny.
That's a good idea.
And then I was at the Bridgetown Comedy Festival. This is like 2010 or 11. And I'm walking to go do the spicy news. And my mom calls me, which is random. My mom never calls me, really. Mm-hmm. So it's one of these like, I have to answer this. But it was just hey, just thinking about you. What's going on? Okay. So I explained to her what I'm doing. I explained to her the show I'm about to go do. And she goes, oh, please don't do that. And then explains to me, like, you have a heart murmur. You know that, right? And I'm like, yeah, but it hasn't been a thing since I was like a teenager. She's like, exactly.
Yeah, you haven't done spicy news.
You don't know the Scoville units of the pepper. And please don't do this. This could be terrible for you. So I basically had to like show up and be like, guys, like,
My mom says I
can't. I'm gonna listen. Sorry. Oh, sorry. But I was like, sorry, I can't fucking do your show anymore. And they were, I'm glad we're in Portland because they respected that. Portland's definitely a city. No one's gonna give you too much shit if you're like, my mom says I can't. It's like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, they're generally
Mine
pretty.
still pays my rent.
They're generally pretty like dietary restriction friendly there.
Yeah. I mean, but that's.
I also think that's a very good reason. Just like I could die, that's not worth dying for.
I don't. I remember having,
even if it's a tiny, tiny little chance.
Yeah, heart murmur sucks. Like I mean, I remember it when you're a kid and just like your heart just skips beats, and you get that like. Oof. That like breath and you're like what? And you're like 16 and you're freaking out and
just a real romantic.
Yeah,
something
you love something.
Is that a heart murmur? I need to go to the doctor. Because
Yeah.
I get
Well,
that
you
a
can
lot.
also have heart palpitations, but that doesn't
Sure,
mean that.
yeah.
It's
Yeah. No,
like
I have
irregular.
that.
I have irregular heartbeats all
Yeah.
the time, but that doesn't mean you have a heart murmur.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
How do you think she fell for Jeff?
I think when you're born, people with heart murmur.
I don't know if that was an insult or a compliment. I meant it to be a compliment to him.
Yeah, definitely a compliment. There's something wrong with her body that makes her like him. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if you bring up Jeff, you just assume it's an insult just because it's he's so easy to insult.
I know he's a sweet boy.
I love him so much, but
Yeah.
it's easy.
I love watching Jeff get actually angry at someone because he's just so polite still. Like he's not cutting at all. He'll be like, and I just told him I don't care for that, sir. Oh, man. You got him, baby.
There's just gonna be one day where you're expecting another polite response, and he's just gonna like stare at someone for a little too long, and then just jab a shard,
Yeah.
a shard of broken glass he's been carrying.
he
for
seems
10
like
years.
a knife carrying kind of lad.
No, well, probably, but only for like dorky reasons.
Right.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Oh, I'll carve a wooden doll." But
What? I
he's
want a
not
wooden
a weapon.
doll.
He's not like he can't carve. He
He can't
carve that.
Yeah,
Sorry, I misspoke.
Dude,
he can't.
no, let's just shit on his carving abilities. For the rest of the
Yeah.
He can sew. Sorry, I'm emasculating him now. But actually, I wish I could sew. I can't do anything, and Jeff can do like all the strong stuff, and also all the stuff women are supposed to do traditionally gender-wise. So I just don't do anything. At
all the strong stuff.
all the strong
strong
stuff. Like he can like build stuff. He built our wall.
He can
and-
open a jar of salsa and then use the lid as a button for his bustier.
Yes,
or whatever.
Hot
exactly.
sauce, death
He
metal, all
refloored.
that
He
shit.
like tore up the carpet, refloored a room. He does all that stuff, but he also cooks every night, and I don't do anything. I'm just a
That
piece of
sounds
trash.
sick.
It's his
Jeff,
house too, so.
Yeah, I know, and he pays the mortgage.
does he actually have knives?
Like carving knives,
Or just like
he has
a-
a pocket knife.
Pocket knife?
Yeah,
Did he grow up in Louisiana?
yeah, he's from
Yeah.
Barry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, because I grew up. I'm a pocket knife guy.
Yeah.
I actually have. I collect knives. Believe it or not,
What?
it's hard to do in New York.
I don't think
What's
that
your
he
daily
carries-
driver? What's your?
Here, I'll show it to you. I have it in my pocket.
Hold it up to the microphone.
It is a Benchmade mini griptilian.
Oh.
Ooh, that was a good click. Yeah.
That's a substantial knife.
Is the blade kind of weighted so you can?
Here, play with it.
Oh
Guys,
yeah.
pass it around.
Yeah.
I grew up. That was like a thing. My uncles and people in my family like you should always have a knife on you just in case. And it's I've used it not for like self defense or anything.
you
but
could
for, like,
use that for self-defense.
I carried a knife for like a year.
You could, but it's more of a tool than a weapon. I
Yeah.
think.
You know what they say about
Yeah.
knife fights is the winner, the loser dies at the scene and the winner dies at the hospital.
There
That's
you
why
go.
you don't get into a knife fight. Yeah.
Well, like a couple of years ago, here in the Bywater neighborhood, it was more of the Maroney at Mimi's, and I saw this group of girls, and they all had daggers.
Yeah, that
on
was
their
like
belt.
a thing. Yeah.
Oh.
And I asked one, I was like, "What's that all
I'm gonna
about?"
cut
And they're
off
like,
my
"You know,
finger.
self defense, basically."
Yeah.
Like, and it's also like broadcasting, like, "Hey, don't fucking come at me.
Yeah.
I've got a dagger." I thought that was so badass.
That is that.
Yeah, I was like,
when
that is-
when I lived in the Maroney, that was like extremely my type. They like dress in all black.
Yeah.
They have like weird tiny fur accessories, and they have fucking daggers on their belts, and they ride their bikes, and they smash windows with their U-locks and shit. It was so.
Oh, that I
Yeah.
didn't listen.
Hell yeah.
I saw it. It was like a bunch of girls in like jean shorts
Yeah.
and like
I have never encountered these
It was
people.
cool.
I saw a
fun.
girl
I
get.
remember the dagger crew. Yeah.
I saw a girl get catcalled on her bike, and then she spit into the window. Yeah,
That's
It was
amazing.
lit. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like 5 feet tall.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I
It was
think.
awesome.
I mean, there was a time where like people just had daggers. It was
Yeah.
just like a thing. And it's like, yeah, fuck it, let's do that again.
Yeah.
Not guns, but daggers.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
knives are
that's
definitely better
England.
than
It's
guns.
just everyone carries a knife.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They all
Like,
used
all
to
the
call
muggings
England
are-
Knife Crime Island. That like every
Oh.
time they had a story that was set in England, they didn't
Knife
say
Crime
England. They called it
Island.
Knife Crime
That's a
Island.
very British, like, wordy thing.
Downton Abbey and Knife Crime Island. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I collect. I have eight blades. You can't get them mailed to New York though. New York and California. Or now California is actually way more rustic than you think, but New York's like new. So I get them shipped here to my parents' house. My mom has had the conversation like, Sean, do we need to talk? You know, it's 4 knives this year. I collect them. I have a case and everything.
Yeah.
I just like them.
Where do you keep it?
In New York, in my apartment. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
in like our bed. I bought Caitlin. Caitlin has like a carry knife that she carries on her in New York. Just because it's legal, you can, just in case.
Yeah, you could probably take that on a plane, right?
Nah, you got to check it. I have to put it in my check baggage.
Oh,
You can't take.
I thought it was like under 3 inches. Or something like
no.
that.
No, it's
No.
nothing with a sharp edge.
You gotta stop taking Greyhounds.
Yeah, you can't even take a nail file.
You can't even. You gotta stop taking Greyhounds. You're like, wait,
Or
that's
a
not an
nail-
airplane.
nail scooping.
No, I've flown. It's the bus you borrowed. That was fun for me.
I think I've accidentally taken some blades on some planes then. Because I thought anything under
Yeah,
3
you might
inches.
just not have
yeah.
gotten. It might have.
Wow.
I get searched like every fucking time too.
Really?
Yeah, probably because I got a blade.
You look
and
like
they
you're in the
just let
fucking
me-
Weather
right.
Underground. So yeah.
Oh, I flew on a plane with Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn of the Weather Underground once.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, they called. They were like, probably to check them because they, are like former terrorists, I guess.
Technically.
But yeah, they were like Bernadine Dorn, and to come to the
Hell yeah.
Wow.
flight
Yeah.
attendant person.
Have I told the Annette Bening bowling story yet on the
No.
pod? It's very short. Basically, my friend from grad school is the son of Annette Bening and Warren Beatty, and like she came to visit, and I met her, and she was cool, whatever. And then I went bowling months later, and one of the 300s on the board said Annette Bening.
That's amazing.
I don't know if it I
could have been
really want it to be
It might
true.
really be her.
She's Anyway,
Wait, what's your friend's name?
he goes by Steven Ira.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wait. Where do they live? If they're the son of two Hollywood icons in L.A.
He's still in Iowa City with his partner.
Oh, cool.
And he actually spends a lot of time. I want to have him on the podcast too, because his I don't know if he would be interested in talking about this on the show, but he had a very public tabloid coming out as transgender when he was a 13-year-old. It was really horrible.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's a really interesting story. I don't know if you would want to talk about it though. Anyway,
They were like, yeah, so let's have him relive that.
yeah, I mean, he's he became a very active blogger about it. So I think it's
I think you'd have to talk about it.
It's not something that it's like something that he talks about regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, being the child of, being a relative of famous people has to just be, at certain times, a mindfuck.
Yeah.
Just at certain times where it's people just, it's almost like they want to soak up your essence.
yeah.
It's got to be hard if you have ambition, anything similar to what they did. Too.
Yeah, that does
you're just
suck.
living up to that.
Well, it's also it's kind of scary. This right here, podcast culture, how it's I've seen, I don't have my podcast. I finally have one that Caitlin and I are doing that'll launch next month.
Nice.
But
Cool.
But I've been, I've been on the road with other comedians who are podcast famous, and it's a different thing because it's not old fame of TV or movie or music where all they really know about you is what you put out there artistically. A podcast, we do these, and you put out a lot of personal information,
Yeah.
and some of these super fans know this shit
Yeah.
and remember it and become obsessed with it in ways,
Yeah.
and I've seen people podcast famous people. Some of the fandom they get is that's kind of fucking scary, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when
They know a
Stavros
lot.
Halkias
Oh,
came
yeah,
through
Stavros, good
New
God.
Orleans
Yeah.
a couple months ago, he packed out all the shows, but the people
The
there
Convoys
were,
came out the fucking woodwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were a
They
lot
came
of
out- the
guys in
semen came out the
weird
balls.
Right.
CIA
Yeah.
shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
We
Okay,
have-
there was one.
they
we
were
have-
just yelling out shit
Yeah.
from his life at him at an open mic, and it's he's at a fucking open mic.
I
Yeah.
know.
We have one listener who's obsessed with me, but it's my mom. So
That's all right, and that's okay. But even hey, keep back down, mom. you
yeah,
know?
she knows everything about me.
Well, it's I've been on the road with Ari a lot. We'll go do storytelling shows, and his fan base is interesting because it ranges from I realize your stories remind me that in this life or the next, experiences come and go, and we all make mistakes, and we all relive them if we choose to. So in the alignment of the eighth chakra, which I've discovered through your podcast,
Right.
I just want to say peace be with you in this life and the next. To the, seeing my kids once a month now, judge dropped the cut charges.
Yeah.
I listen to your stories because we all fuck up, brother. Here's some cocaine. And
Yeah.
so, but then he's also got these very just Shafir heads who are just know everything about him,
Yeah.
dating back 20 years, and just pop up at shows and just stand there.
Yeah.
And just don't say anything. They just stare at him, and you're like, what's going through your fucking head?
Yeah.
and they're just fans of your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your product is
You know?
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a wild thing to put out there and try and like monetize because people feel like they have access to it because you kind of have to give it to them.
We have to, and we
we've
do
reached
it.
like peak commodification of personality. It's really fucking weird. I was a religious listener to the Champs, the Neil Brennan.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm so sad that they stopped making it. But like I remember watching the most recent Neil Brennan special where it's very hard on sleeve, like autobiographical, like talks about struggling with depression and anxiety stuff. And I felt like I'm learning nothing about you because like I've heard you talk like literally 30 hours of you talking about this.
Yeah,
It's really interesting.
It is. I mean, like fame is a strange thing. Like I was doing shows at the end of the month in Madison, Wisconsin, and one of the nights, Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers. You know? Wonderful, and he's the only one I know personally. Wonderful guy.
Yeah.
But he was headlining one of the shows, and the club had to hire extra security to patrol just the hallway by the green room because people were like, essentially like suicide bombing. Like,
My God.
Like a couple of times, like people were like just walking a little too hard in the direction. I was like, "Hey, where are you going?" And like, "I just Sal," and it's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Wait,
what-
and that's so
Yeah.
weird because I also don't know who this person is.
Exactly.
But fame is weird like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, were they trying to like prank him?
yeah, who knows? It's like who knows? Like
What's
it's
Impractical Jokers? I'm sorry.
a show
a-
on True TV.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's basically like a prank show where, but they like I think they prank each other. Is that the premise?
Yeah, it's like they prank each other. They prank each other, or they tell each other to do things to prank.
Oh, I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I've seen that. I think I've seen that when I've been at my fiance's dad's house.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly where you would see it.
Yeah.
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 It's
yeah,
fiancé,
yeah.
it's
I watched it
parents.
with
Yeah,
with
they love-
Susanna's parents.
yeah, they love
and
that.
like some of the I will go out on a limb and say some of the hardest times I've ever laughed is watching that show. It's also there's some stuff that I didn't love, but
Yeah, it's a show that's made to binge watch the day after Christmas,
right.
while everyone's looking between that and their phones.
Yeah.
Are people ever creepily obsessed with you? Well, last night.
No.
Yeah, last night that guy was following you around.
Oh, that was I think that guy was
That was
just
the
following
stand-up
around
guy.
the idea of comedy.
I was so drunk, I ended up scaring him off.
Did you?
I made him leave. I think everyone had already gone to Cosimo's anyway. But yeah, he like asked me a question and I talked for so long that I scared off the creepy guy who wouldn't shut up by doing to him what he was doing to everyone.
Getting into it's so much better to be invited in than to force your way.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and to like just sit there and I mean, god damn.
I'm like
years
a
of that.
compulsive inviter inner. Like if someone's visibly on the edge of a conversation or like visibly uncomfortable, I will like make an effort to like make them feel included so that they can talk or whatever. But if someone is not suffering and they just fucking barge in, I'm like, you're the worst.
Yeah,
person.
you're the worst in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm the same way.
You invite and then you invite them out. You try and
Yeah,
get
you
them
invite
out.
them to fuck off.
I feel that way too because I feel like I hate watching people when they feel excluded.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when you invite them in, then they are too. They'll just
That's just it's
Yeah, that guy.
occupational
bad.
hazard.
But he was like the little dude, and he started talking about taking comedy classes. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think I saw this.
he
dude
I
at all.
just yeah.
It's I mean, I feel like in general, open mics and things like that, like the comedy scene has become disappointingly lucid, if that makes sense. Like I just remember a time where it was like, oh man, half the people on this list are just fucking dice rolls.
Yeah.
lunatic. And it wasn't always like, especially when I like lived in LA years ago. It was like a 12 years ago at this point. And like you'd go to open mics there, and there were people who were just like fucking full on, not even batshit. Like what's even a crazier flying rodent
Right.
shit? You know what I'm saying? Like just out of their fucking minds, and it was insanely beautiful to watch. And here when I started, you'd see some of these like, 45 to 50-year-old
Right.
married, father and or wife, or just they have this alternate like persona outside of their life, and they get on stage. Like there was a comedian. I don't know if she's around anymore, but her name was Jolie the Edge-a-Macajun. Okay, right? This is New Orleans circa 03 to 05, right? And she was, I believe, and I could be just implanting this, but I'm pretty sure that she was a high school principal.
Oh.
Because like in somewhere like in Delacroix or
She was in the field of edumacation.
Edumacation.
like yeah, she didn't live in New Orleans. I remember that, and it was like she lived outside New Orleans, but she came in, and she was a very nice woman. She'd always bring her husband, and he was always there to support her.
Wait, yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Jolie
yes.
the Edumacation.
She comes to shows
Still.
She, yes, her husband is like her manager.
Yes.
Wait, I'm pretty sure, yes, because he's like harassed Vincent about not putting her on Fuck Yeah.
Well, because
that's
she
funny.
fucking, I mean, I don't know if she's gotten any better, but
Wait,
it was like.
I have to ask him if this is the same woman. I think it's the same woman.
She would get on stage with a crazy,
Yeah.
like, ooh, down in the bayou, you know, 2 + 2 equals however many alligators there ain't. Like, what is that? And it was just, she'd get on fucking stage.
Yeah.
And the comedians, we'd all line up in the back of the room, all 6 of us, because
Yeah.
there wasn't big, it wasn't, it was a very small comedy scene back then, and just die at how bad it was.
Yeah.
Not realizing that we were fueling this fire that apparently
Right.
14 years later is still
Apparently,
live
yeah.
and kicking.
Well, now she's Lane Lognon. So.
I know, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
You can still see artifacts of that like period of time because I went to grad school like 5 years ago and and I was like doing it for like a year up until that point. I think you started like maybe that year also. And then I left for a while and like when I left, the only game in town really was Carrollton Station, right?
Yeah.
How long's been?
Well, no.
Bear With Me.
There was still Hi-Ho and Bear With Me.
Yeah,
Bear
yeah.
With Me was started like
But it was a whole different
6
landscape.
or something years ago. Yes, I love that.
It was like a whole different landscape, and you can still see artifacts of that in the way mic hosts host mics, where they put so much effort into controlling the audience's expectation, even if they've already made the lineup and been like, oh, everyone here is people that I know and they're
Sometimes
good.
sometimes not to the show's credit too. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I love Cassidy, but sometimes it'd be like, you're gonna see a lot of psychos here that
Yeah,
are
yeah,
all
yeah.
unhinged and stupid. And
Right.
I'm like, okay,
You don't-
can.
yeah.
no,
Maybe,
no,
yeah.
he does a great job actually because
Yeah.
he always like. I feel like Carrollton's still one of the funnest places to go up in the city.
Sure, yeah.
But
I mean, that I remember. I mean, I fucking remember Cassidy's first time ever doing stand up.
that's crazy.
Like I remember when he showed up and like was this just like squirrely nerdy dude and
Yeah.
got up there with his rugged voice, but he was 23 or something,
Yeah.
but he still sounded like he does now. So you're like,
Right.
what has this guy got to say? And then
Harvey Firestein.
yeah, exactly. Harvey Firestein if he were drunk and really liked PBR.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But like that was, I mean, there was a guy in LA when I first moved there. This is in 2006, named Boom Shakalaka. That was his name, and he would get on stage, and he was out of his fucking mind. He was. LA has what I like to call hobo adjacents.
Yeah.
Because they're not technically homeless, but they don't live anywhere and probably sleep on the street
Right.
half the nights a week. But that's the thing about Southern California; it is extremely accommodating for that.
Right.
You
The weather's pretty
perfect
mild, yeah.
99% of the time. So
If Benjamin were here, he would mention that he was homeless in Hawaii, but it was similarly perfect.
Right.
And exactly. When you look at Benjamin, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
must have been rough. You beautiful Cat Stevens looking. you know. And
You
that has
beautiful
to.
Yusuf Islam.
Yeah. Oh yes. I mean, he looks Cat. He looks pre-Yusuf. He looks
You're right.
pre-Islam.
Yeah.
But Boom Shakalaka's thing was he would get on stage and try and, while doing his 5 minutes, eat an entire box of Fiddle Faddle.
What is Fiddle Faddle?
Fiddle Faddle, you know what Fiddle Faddle is, right? Fiddle Faddle, it's Cracker Jacks,
Oh, okay,
essentially,
yeah.
but in a bigger, like, normal-sized box.
Right.
So it was just hilarious watching this fucking lunatic cram Fiddle Faddle in his mouth, and by the end of his set, he got just chewing it and picking his teeth and spitting it everywhere.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter what he was saying by that point. It was just insane. And then from there, I moved to New York, and then when I went back to LA for the first time in like 2010, I saw he was on a lineup, like a legit lineup, and I was like, fucking, is that Boom Shak? I saw him visually. Like,
Yeah.
Is that Boom Shakalaka?
Yeah.
And one of the other comics, like, he only goes by Boom now. He dropped Shakalaka. And I was like, aw. And then he got on stage and was just him, but no Fiddle Faddle anymore.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, like, disappointingly, like, he was trying to take it.
Disappointingly lucid.
Yeah, trying to make a career out of it. I was like, aw, boom.
Yeah.
Somebody give him his Fiddle Faddle back.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that Jolie, the Edumacation, just went the other way.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
fighting. She's fighting for stage time, not by doing open mics though. She just is asking to be on. I'm pretty sure it's the same woman. It's this woman who
I have to know.
she goes by some kind of Cajun. She has like long gray hair, And her husband is always with her and like will talk to Vincent for her, like on behalf of her, and be like, she's good. She's been around forever, and he'll like send him videos and shit. Yeah. Anyway.
And it's always I don't know.
Sean, do you know Fancy Ray McCloney in Minneapolis?
What are these?
But I love that name and everything about it. So, Fancy Ray McCloney.
He's like a local celebrity kind of, and he does stand up enough for everyone that does stand up to know him. He doesn't really do it that often. But he's this like 55-year-old guy who basically like borrowed Little Richard's just persona.
Just the whole shtick,
and he's like extremely ripped, like the most jacked man. Mm-hmm. And he just talks about how pretty he is. And he's got a tattoo on both biceps of a TV that each of them say Fancy Ray McCloney.
Hell yeah.
In the TV. He destroys every time with just like poems about how he's pretty.
Dude, I mean, do you guys know B-Dub Get Paid?
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
Like I started.
We found out his real name last night.
Don't say. I don't want to know.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, when I met him, he's always gone by B-Dub. He added the Get Paid post Katrina. But like him and I started together. I remember like at the same time, and I used to so B-Dub had this grand idea. He was like, "Hey man, I got an idea for a movie. And I want you to come write it with me."
Yes.
This was like a year into doing stand-up, and I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man. I like what you do. I think you can help me write this movie. He's like, and then we could raise the money, and then we could just do it no limit style. Because it was still on the heels of the no limit cash money. This was in 2002. Right? I'm older. But and his whole idea was we're going to write this movie, we're going to raise the money to shoot it, and then we're just going to hand out DVD copies on the street corners and like do it.
At Magnolia discount. Like
I love imagining you and B-Dub doing this.
Dude, and I remember he kept wanting to say grassroots, but he just kept saying root style. And the whole time I'm like, he's like either referencing the film Roots, which I hope he's seen, or Roots, the hip hop group from which I don't. Is that how they did it? But I show up to his apartment in Kenner, was where he lived at the time, to help him write the script, and we hang out, and we smoke a bunch of weed, and he's got like a friends over, and then he finally presents me with the script, and it's just a stack of like napkins, like a sheet of loose leaf paper, some index cards. Like none of it is. He's just like, yeah, I mean, I just write it down whenever I'm feeling it. And I was like, oh shit, all right. So then we just like read through this stack of random slips of paper with like the most random shit.
I really like your comedy. Could you please do data entry for me?
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. The idea was like, it was about a comedian who is also a hitman. So it's like, it was the idea for Barry in a way.
I haven't seen it.
Or like that sort of like, he's a comic and he kills it on stage, but he also kills it on the streets,
What a log line.
For a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ideas that was like, this is great.
Is that how B-Dub get paid?
He mows lawns.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
I wonder if exactly. I wonder if he ever opened up a laptop and typed into it. And was like, wait a second, you could do this in one, just on one thing? And unfortunately we never got around to writing that script. We talked about it a lot.
Yeah, y'all should still collab.
We did.
I mean, he's around.
Yeah, he's around. We could probably call him right now. I used to buy pot from him.
B-Dub, yeah.
Am I gonna have to cut that, or are we good?
I think you're good. I mean, he talks pretty openly about it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, there was a. Do you know the comedian? This dude's definitely not around anymore. But a dude named Rude Boy. Reggie was his first name, but he was like a very funny comedian who only did the same 5 minutes over and over again, but always worked. But he had this one bit where he's like, "Does anybody here smoke weed?" People, of course, clap. He goes, "Good, because I'm selling dime bags in the parking lot after the show."
Yeah.
And then after one of those sets, I made the mistake of just being like, "Hey man, that's a really funny joke, but sometimes it doesn't make sense because there isn't always a parking lot." Like I was just being that sort of stickler.
Right.
Like I was like, because he did it at the Carrollton Station. I'm like, that would have been funny if he just said out on the street, like there's no parking lot here. And he got so fucking mad at me.
Yeah.
Was just straight up like, does the joke kill every time? Then shut your fucking mouth. It was like that. It was like, sorry.
Yeah,
I just thought we were having a moment of, what if you just changed the never mind, you're right. Yeah. But then, lo and behold, the next time I saw him, he did. It was like, good, because I'm selling weed out on the corner, and it like got such a big laugh. But you could tell he was. I thought of that, and
Right.
But those guys, they were all like, it was fucking crazy because there was this whole crew of guys that all had nicknames. None of them all had stage names, and they were all like, "I'm gonna be rich doing this," and I don't think any of them are.
Yeah,
you gotta believe.
The first time
even if-
I got paid to do comedy, I think I'd been doing it for like 4 months, and this guy named Arlan Pierre.
Say that
You got
again.
good names, and you're
Arlan Pierre.
Arlan Pierre.
Yeah, he had way more rings than fingers.
That's good.
that's
Always dressed how
detail.
you assume Arlan Pierre would dress. And
Seersucker? Seersucker?
yeah, absolutely. He had me do like 20 minutes when I was like 4 months in at this show.
Jesus
Then I think the tickets were like $40 or something, and it was
God.
packed out.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, everyone on the lineup was like Jizzy John, and like none of them had ever done stand up
Yeah.
before. But they were like, it was just a bunch of people doing 20 minutes
Yeah.
to like a room full of people who were willing to pay that price. And everyone had a nickname, and then it was like, and Benjamin Hoffman, 21-year-old Benjamin Hoffman.
Benjamin Hoffman.
Yeah.
My dad still has the poster for that show. Bye, Corinne. We're all
Nice to see you.
silently waving on a podcast.
Yeah.
Bye, Corinne.
Sorry, I'm doing my first ever thing.
Oh, yeah, have fun.
Photography. Those were. I mean, did you guys ever meet Boomer Dole?
Nuh-uh.
That was the dude who was like the guy who thought he was God's gift to comedy, and he would book all these shows with like every comedian in town, and he'd be like, "How long?" And he'd be like, do your time. There's no trap doors."
Right.
So for some people that meant 3 minutes. For some people it meant, "Oh, I've got 25."
Right.
So the shows were just extremely long. He berated the audience for leaving every time. Do your time, baby. Trap. No. He always said no trap doors.
Yeah.
Right. So Dane Fauché. This was in like 2004. I'm going back here. He's on one of Boomer Dole's shows in Old Metairie, and like a few other comics and I, specifically a gentleman named Seth Cockfield and another guy named Neil Stastny and myself, we show up to support Dane. He's our friend. And Boomer's just weirded out that we're there. And he's talking to every other comedian. He's like, "What are these fucking punks doing at my show? They're here to hijack it. That's what they're going to do. I'm not putting them on. They're not hijacking my show." And we're all like, "We're not." No.
Yeah, we just wanted to watch
And
it.
also, he's not talking directly to us. He's telling every other comic who are one by one coming over, like, "Dude, he's freaking out that you guys are here.
Yeah.
Like, I think he actually thinks you're going to walk on stage and just attempt to take his show away." And it was like, it'd be fucking hilarious, but no, we're just going to watch. And I remember when Dane was on, we watched and we laughed and all this shit. And then Dane left, and we left with him. And then there was this, here we go, aging myself again, Friendster. Friendster. There was this like Friendster group where Boomer got on and just like launched into us all. It was just like, these fucking punks. They came, they tried to hijack my show. They only laughed at their friend. If I see it, your heads are on platters. Like making like physical threats.
Yeah.
So because of that, the four of us started a sketch group and named it Trap Doors. Based on Boomer Dole.
Yeah.
And
He had to have had a bad experience with a trapdoor.
something. Exactly.
Don't worry, there's not going to be a trapdoor in this situation.
I think the point being, it's just like I feel like, and maybe I just don't see it as much anymore, but that was always something I enjoyed about those like early stages
Oh,
of comedy.
no time?
Oh,
Yeah.
the Lunatics.
Oh, the Lunatics.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's still mics where you can just do whatever you want, which disgusts and frightens me. But there are still mics where you can just be like, I'm going to do 20 minutes and no one will stop you. That's
Really?
crazy.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Where?
Poor Boys.
Oh, that's a Friday mic?
Yeah.
That's probably because no one is there.
No
or
one's
gives a
there.
shit. Yeah.
And then also Comedy Gumbo used to be like that.
Uh-huh.
But
Well, 'cause sometimes
did that
Red Bean
exist
will
when
just
you were doing
leave.
comedy?
No, but I've known Red Bean
Yeah.
I've known Red Bean since he had a name. Since he was.
I haven't been in years. I only went twice.
Always the other night.
Yeah, dude, Red Bean's funny.
No, he's
funny.
really
But, like,
funny.
Yeah, Red Bean's.
He'll just host Gumbo and then bring up a comic and then just leave. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I guess you got to keep going.
He'll
until it comes back.
let you do 20 minutes if it's your first time doing comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to always perform with the Bluetooth in too. He used like when the Bluetooth first came around, it was Red Bean rocking the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Like someone's in his ear telling him what to say.
Like whispering.
Like he just graduated from a beeper.
Yeah. It was so like there's a scene in Breaking Bad where Bill Burr's character is like getting directions from Anna Gunn into his Bluetooth. And when I saw that, I thought, I was like, Red Bean, man. Yeah. That was that dude before the writers of this Emmy award-winning show got to it. But yeah, that guy, I mean, there was a time, Harris, there was an improv. The improv opened in Harris. There was an improv in Harris for like 3 months before Katrina, right?
Yeah.
And they held this like audition for all these local comics to show up, and you were getting 2 minutes, and you were performing in front of Bud Friedman himself and like his crew. And it was all there. It was legit. And I remember fucking everyone's going up and doing their 2 minutes, and you're just performing in front of each other. And if you went over, the moment you went over, Bud Friedman had a god mic. He'd just go, "Okay." And that happened to a couple guys. But Nature Boy, who is a comedian here still, I think, who is like Red Bean's protege. He was wearing his sunglasses, his nice sports coat, his medallion. He was like he dressed up.
Pinstripes.
He was ready to go on stage.
Double-breasted.
And when they call his name, he's walking up with all this swagger, and Red Bean from the back of the room just goes, "Go ahead, Usher!" And everyone loses their shit. And fucking Nature Boy just takes off the sunglasses, like shoulders dip. Exactly. Just robbed him of all of his confidence seconds before he set foot on stage.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so sad. It's so sad to see like an overconfident man actually deflated, but still have to project confidence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way to hurt someone more than just accurately describing them.
No.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta just hate yourself all the time, because then you can't be let down. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like fucking like Aziz, you see Aziz Ansari a lot walking at clubs in New York, and like it's funny because this was a conversation I was having a month ago at the Cellar. I was talking about how I missed a big chunk of like, because I was in like the quote unquote alternative comedy world, in 5 or 6 years ago. So I wasn't really doing many club spots.
Right.
And now I do a lot of club spots.
Yeah.
And I was just talking with this other comic, Ricky Velez. He was like, "Yeah, but you were like in that alt world back then, and that shit was crazy." And as we're saying this, we both noticed that Aziz is on stage, like wearing a sports coat, shirt tucked in on stage, just like, dating.
Right.
It's strange when you meet the parents for the first time, right? How do you deal with that? And we're like, yeah, man, alternative comedy. Boy, that was not. It was just comedy, not in a club. That's all it was. It was just the same fucking thing,
a different place
in a bar. Yeah, because now you see Aziz, and it's like, man, he has totally gone the like Seinfeld route.
Oh,
like he's sports coat tucked in, loafers.
Right.
It's funny stuff, but it's just it's crazy how I don't know people. I guess with every level of success, you kind of is it the thing? Do you lose the thing that got you there and you try for something more?
The thing that you lose is audiences that are difficult to please unless you're touring.
Oh,
like they just get too big and I mean. I don't know, like I just watching Gaffigan specials, and it's just like this would bomb horrifically at every show I've ever done.
Because you have trust and people just want to hear what you have to say because
Right.
they get commodification of
Personality,
human beings. Yeah.
It's got to be bizarre to get to the point where like everyone there knows everything else you've ever said.
Right. Yeah, I
crazy.
just, when we were eating pizza, I was thinking of something that Amy Schumer actually said in an interview, but I remembered it as her stand-up because they're interchangeable to me. Yeah. Anyway.
What was it? Do you remember?
It was this thing. She was like, my doctor asked me how many drinks I had a week, and I said 36. And she was like, I was honest with her. I said 36. And that was the punchline, was just that she drank 36 drinks a week. I think that was in an interview and not stand-up, but I remembered it as stand-up. Because also, I've like thought of that sentence or joke, whatever it was, many times, because I was like, I think I drink more than 36 drinks a week. I'm going to fucking die.
I could cut back to 36.
I could cut back to
36. What is it? Do I have kids half the week? Shit. No, I don't. Yeah. That's why I appreciate like. I appreciate when like a Maria Bamford does something like a special in front of just her parents.
Right.
I mean, I know that was a few years ago now, but like it's a challenge, and I love how much it pisses off like the purists where they're like, "What is that shit?"
That's not stand-up.
Like,
She's like the only one who does alternative comedy. Everyone else is just talking about like her shit is
What is
so
alternative
bizarre.
comedy supposed
I
to
don't
mean? It just
fucking
means
know.
it's not in a club.
Yeah.
You know.
The idea that there's
That's-
genres to
Yes.
stand-up comedy is
Right.
bizarre.
I mean, I
anyway.
think that there kind of are, but not ones that like I mean, there's definitely people like Maria Bamford who are doing something different than what anyone else is doing. And then there's some people who are like doing traditional stand-up very well and doing their own unique material. But it's like, I've seen it before, which is not bad. That's
The distinction for me is it whether or not it travels well. Like if you can only kill in New York or LA, or like doing shows that you do like Largo or something, like doing shows that you do, but you can't like kill in like fucking Cleveland or whatever because they're just like, shut up, fucking egghead. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Egghead.
Egghead.
I mean they get those Cleveland.
Michael had to think of something he knew that wasn't a slur at all.
You do not want to be called an egghead in Cleveland, all right? Because they don't. They're all they're all vegans up there. Yeah. You freaking egghead! Oh Jesus!
Scramble the bitch.
That's when they're so angry they can't be obscene. You know, you farting.
Oh, dude!
Donkey,
I mean,
donkey,
I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
People get into that, like yelling in traffic and just you guy,
Yeah.
guy,
You slumping booger hat. You know.
Yeah.
I love that. In fact, I'm gonna make that my New Year's resolution.
slumping
booger.
It's just no more like fuck shit.
Yeah.
No, just straight up like words I can say in front of kids. But it doesn't matter how I say that. It's how I say them that matters. No, you're right. I mean, it's all bullshit. I mean, when I moved to New York, all the good stuff was happening in bars and in like the small theater spaces. Like the clubs were just kind of like closed off to anything that wasn't that style.
Right.
And now all of those shows, there's still some great shows in New York, but they're all at the clubs now too. The clubs have kind of like opened their doors
for sure.
to more and more, acts that 8 years ago would not have been doing spots there. Now it's like
once they realize they can make money off it, they
Right.
probably don't give a fuck.
well, once they realize that, like those audiences will go. They'll go to the Cellar.
Right.
They'll go to the New York Comedy Club. They'll go in L.A. They'll go to the Store or the Improv.
Yeah.
And they'll pay. And it's like, oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, do you get the sense that their business model has gone from people going to the venue because it's the venue to people going to see the person performing at the venue? Does that make sense?
It does. I think it varies. I think like some venues around the country, like Acme in Minneapolis, where he's on, that's like my favorite club. But they'll pack it in there no matter who's on stage.
Yeah.
People just go. They know they're going to see a
they
specific.
pack it for the open mic.
Yeah. And then in the cities now, it's you've got like I've seen this before, and at first it like weirded me out, but now I think it's awesome. But people who will like couples, for example, who will do like we're going on a comedy like vacation.
Oh, that's cool.
So they'll go to New York, for example, and they're there for 5 days, and they have like a list. They're like, we're going to the Cellar Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to go see, Butterboy on Monday in Brooklyn. Then we're going to go Wednesday. We're going to go see Comedians You Should Know, and then Friday we're going to go to Bitches Brew. But then on Saturday we're going to go to New York Comedy Club. And it's like they have and that's what they came to do. They spend all day
That's cool.
That
seeing
sounds
New York,
awesome,
and then they
actually,
do like then they see like 4 shows a night. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're like animals in the zoo.
Right. Yeah.
It's great. It's kind of interesting when you think about
That's
it like
really
that.
cool, though, that people are actually planning vacations around comedy.
Well, it's reached that level that I think music was at 20 years ago or so, where it's like now people can just list. It's exactly.
Sorry.
It's that.
Mary Devon almost just lit herself on fire.
It's a loud
smoking weed.
torch. Yeah.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's this guy. Wait, that's the wrong way.
Just in case, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't fuck around on this podcast.
That's for my like
don't-
crack pipe.
Don't
ass.
I
the
know.
equipment.
Lighting the bowl with a goddamn blowtorch.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude.
It's Michael's stupid thing.
It's
that
very
he
dumb.
We're an
has.
Yeah.
alternative podcast.
Yeah.
We fucking
Yeah.
do drugs on the.
You don't listen to this
Well,
podcast. In
I
normal
will
places.
throw up and shit at the same time if I don't smoke.
Yeah,
this, 'cause
I'm feeling that
I'm
too,
very
yeah.
I'm still drunk. I just haven't gotten hungover.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever done that before?
Yes, but only not from drunkenness, from being very ill.
Yeah. I've
Same
done that
here.
too,
So
Yeah.
we're talking about throwing up and shitting at the
Same time.
time.
Yeah.
Because I'll just shit if I get sick.
Yeah.
So if I'm throwing up, I'm also shitting because I was already shitting. So
Yeah.
pretty much every time I throw up, I'm also shitting,
Okay.
which is rare. But
Do you have a plan? Do you have a protocol? I stand in the tub. That's what I've done.
Really?
Twice in my life.
Tub is my go-to for stomach illness.
Sit with a bucket. You sit on the toilet.
Yeah, sit on the toilet.
I've thrown up in it. I threw up
That
into the
seems
trash
like the
can.
obvious choice for me.
To me,
No, I'm
No.
gonna shit in the shower.
I don't.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, you drive car wash. You just go to a car wash.
Exactly. I mean, if I wouldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
But no, it was the first time. It was just the first time it ever happened. I was sick, and I was like, I have to. Both is gonna happen. I didn't have time. I was like, stood in the shower, turned the water on, and just pushed. At that point, hit the release. Fire alarm. Just
I love that there's a dude who's out there like asking you for like fucking how do I get chicks? And you're like, so you stand in the shower.
Here's what you gotta do,
shit,
man.
vomit, same time.
And if you can blow a couple snot rockets and urinate, bro, that's the quadfecta.
Yeah.
Chicks dig
Blow out
it.
some earwax.
Yeah. That
Hold
is
your nose and blow out
yeah.
the earwax.
Yeah, that's how you get new phases.
That's how it happens. Clears all bodily.
That's how Gallagher got started. Just bodily fluids, and then he graduated to watermelon.
If you can do
And then
all the
did
bodily
racism.
fluids and then masturbate, you've officially and then cut yourself.
Yeah.
Trying to think of and then cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's all. It's most of the bodily fluids right there.
I guess that's vomiting and spitting. Yeah, I think that's good. Sweat.
That's sweating.
You'll be sweating.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing all that.
From all the heat you're gonna get once people get heard what you're up to.
Yeah. Doing involuntary crunches for hours. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, it's interesting because I come home once. I'd say I come back to New Orleans on average 3 times a year, and every single time I barf once. There's a night or a morning.
Are you a drink barfer or a drink diarrhea person?
Barfer.
Barfer.
And
Gotcha.
also, I'm not ashamed to admit it. A lot of times it's self-induced. A lot of times it's like,
oh yeah,
I feel like utter dog shit. I'm just gonna do it. The button's right there.
Yeah.
I cannot successfully. I can if I'm about to throw up, I can assist myself.
Yeah.
But if I don't have to throw up, I can't make it happen.
Oh,
I've
really?
never even
Yeah.
tried. I also have no gag reflex.
I can gag,
so-
but I can't. It takes
We'll
a
talk about
lot
that
for
later.
me to puke.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies.
I have a gag reflex.
Yeah.
It makes me gag,
Yeah.
but to actually get to puking, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very wow. It's embarrassing how easy it is.
Yeah.
I can make myself puke right now. if I want, probably.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed by that.
I don't get sick. I just have a 5-day headache. So if I did learn to make myself puke, that would be better. Not 5 days. 3 is the worst it's been, but that's still bad.
That makes sense. You're like more of a cerebral guy.
Yeah, I'm retentive. I retain. Yeah.
Yeah, the brain pain more than anything.
I mean, that's no. I people. This is definitely such a. I like getting drunk here. Mm-hmm. It's not just because I'm from here. It's just it's more exciting than a lot of places because most cities are. It's just kind of homogenized. All the bars are just sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wood. There's a lot of whiskey.
Everything's new and clean.
Yeah. Or made to look dirty
Made
and
to look
dingy.
dirty.
Edison bulbs.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
I'm done with Edison.
Yeah.
bulbs.
Whenever I go back home to the Twin Cities, I'm always surprised when someone comes up to a table I'm sitting at and asks me what I want to drink. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Oh yeah, that's right. There's no table service
Yeah.
No.
in New Orleans. You just go to the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes it better too because
Oh.
you're not just sitting down in the
There's
same
table
place.
service in bars?
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
fucking weird.
I've never experienced that. I've never lived anywhere else.
Did you see at the show last night that people had formed a line behind the bar instead of gathering around?
Yes.
What is that, a North Shore thing? Did you see
don't
that?
Yeah, that's that. I think that's we don't go out and
Right,
bars.
No,
right,
I
yeah.
think it was because I think that the crowd last night was so great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
loved
they
them
were
so
fun.
much. That was the easiest time I've ever had hosting a show.
Yeah.
But they were just very organized people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They laughed when they were supposed to. They just got in a line to get their drinks because I feel like the standing around one bartender, they didn't want to crowd him. Getting drinks at Dragon's Den when it's super packed, they only have one bartender and when we have a big show, it's there's no you only need one bartender, but
Yeah.
there is a rush right before it starts where I'm just I would not want to be that one bartender.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, in Australia and England, and Ireland as well, they don't you don't sit at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
There's no seats at the bar, so it's especially Australia, they don't even. Maybe in England and Ireland,
Oh,
or
right.
Scotland, you'll find a bar where you can sit, but in Australia, it's nah. You walk up, so seeing people line up, I've seen before, but never here. Where you
Yeah.
just and also in China, the concept of a line doesn't exist. So like you just see people go to bars and just like stick to it, like they're all magnetic, and just shout. It's weird being in countries, because I think wherever you go in the U.S., service industries, even at its worst, is still. There's still like a level of like, what can I do for you?
Right. Yeah.
It's a tip based industry.
Right.
But like going to countries where it's not, sometimes it's like, I want to fucking lose my shit on you right now. You're an asshole. And like seeing the people who come up in that world, how they talk to service industry, sometimes I'm equally as like, I want to lose my shit on you now because you're being such a dick.
Yeah.
That person, you won. They're serving.
Right.
You
I
know?
think it's partially because so much of like our identity in America is like we're individuals. So you go to a place and it's like, no, I came here, you serve me, and it's not like we're all kind of doing the same shit. We're all in
your
the same
meal's
place
special,
or whatever.
right?
Yeah, you're special, and if you're paying for something, you're extra special because everything costs shit. You know?
Yeah.
I've met people here who are like, oh yeah, I went to Brown. I graduated. I have I summa cum laude.
I think
that's not even a thing you can do in Brown, and I did it. But I decided to come to New Orleans, and I like bartending, so I'm still here. It's great. I love it. And you're like, this is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because in New Orleans, I think people have more respect for bartenders than they do like. Even white collar
Doctors.
people are like, I'd be cooler if I
yeah.
was a bartender. Because being a bartender here is like I think it's a really, really respected job.
Yeah.
Because like we care a lot about drinking, and especially with like craft cocktail culture, like that got like really pretentious. But there is a cool balance of like, I know how to make a good drink. I know about what I do.
Yeah.
I'm service industry, but I make a lot of money that I think is like really, really respected in a city like New Orleans where no one's particularly ambitious.
Yeah.
Like even like everything is slow and dysfunctional here because even the people in like the highest offices are like drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like a stereotype, but it's like they're still organized and we still do all the like the important stuff, but it all happens slower. None of it makes you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Oh, 100%.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Bartenders here, I think, are like everyone respects them.
Yeah. Some of the most powerful.
I know
people.
that I'm not saying that they get treated like it. I know a lot of bartenders. Xander. God, we have a friend who works at a daiquiri shop on Bourbon
Sounds
Street.
like the worst fucking job.
You know Xander? He's a dirty little dude.
I do know Xander, and I know what I got to say about
I love
daiquiri
Xander.
shops on Bourbon Street is just.
Wow. Do you need a hospital? Okay.
Did you think that was real?
I did, actually. Yeah.
This fell
I
out
was
of
wondering where in your body that was coming from.
This fell out of my pocket a little while ago.
I love it.
a fart machine.
I like that you said you thought that was real,
delightful motherfucker.
as if
You
I
just
should have
got one of
assumed
those?
that you had like a sound effect
I
machine.
immediately thought sound effects.
So,
Really?
wait, you know what I think?
I'm smarter.
Because that is not the sound of a healthy. That is the sound of fluids escaping.
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, this is. I just had this in my pocket. I just want to point that out.
I don't carry it around.
had
Just
it in
carry
my
a knife
pocket.
and a fart machine.
That's how you get through. You want to know how to do comedy? Have a blade and a fart machine.
Are they
at
all
times.
farts?
When people don't
Oh,
laugh,
yeah.
you
Well,
kill them.
Here you go. Here you go. You've got the aristocrat. You've got the longshoreman. All right. You've got the messenger. You've got the medical student. Yeah. You've got the stripper.
Oh.
You've got the comedian. Okay. You've got the politician. The cab driver. And the criminal. There you go. That's the 9. And none of those are accurate. But I got this because we were shopping for knickknacks for stocking stuffers in L.A. for my girlfriend's from L.A. We were there for Christmas, and we had to get. That's like a thing their family does is like knickknacks to stuff the stockings with. So I got this and just kept it for myself.
I love it.
And at one point, I had it in my pocket. I was talking to her and her best friend's parents. And I had made eye contact with her best friend's dad. He just was like, well, and made that happen. And it was loud enough. I think the battery's faded because it was a bunch louder last week. But it was so loud, and no one suspected that I had a fart machine that my girlfriend and the mom of her best friend both looked at me with these horrendous eyes of you fucking monster. But he looked at me with these eyes that were sort of like, hell yeah, man.
My brother.
Free us all.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, it's a fart machine. I didn't just stare at your best friend's parents and crap my pants. You're right. I do have, man, if I were murdered out in the street, the cops would find some interesting, well, he's got a knife, $18 and a fart machine.
That is funny to imagine the cop investigating it and pressing the fart button. What is this?
Maybe we'll learn something.
Over your dead body.
Maybe we'll figure this out. There has to be some evidence.
The sound of the killer.
That was the one.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, daiquiri shops on bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking nightmare.
So I don't think that all bartenders get the respect they deserve, but I think even if people are assholes, they privately in New Orleans, like people who live here, respect bartenders. But our friend has some fucking horror stories.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We should just have
We should
Xander
have
on
Xander.
to talk about
Yeah.
just all that shit.
awesome.
God, because he's such a demure little. I mean, demure sounds like he's like. He's disgusting. He's a trash person who doesn't bathe. But he's adorable and very sweet and genteel. But he is just in this horrible shithole where everyone's just like shitting and fucking and like screaming at him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's,
I love Xander, but he told me like a month ago, he was like, I haven't smoked in a year. And I was like, you smelled like
Yeah, he
cigarettes
still smells like cigarettes.
the whole time.
He hasn't washed his clothes.
yeah, I mean, that's Bourbon Street. It's crazy how none of us go there.
Yeah.
But like, I do remember years ago there was talk of like, not shutting it down, but putting some like
Disney shit.
no, not our bourbon.
Yeah.
But I still don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Frenchman Street is on the way to being that.
Frenchman Street's already there, man.
Yeah.
That dog ruined everything.
When we like flyer, tourists will come up to me and they're like, so this is like the real New Orleans, right?
Right, exactly.
And to be nice, I'm like, well, this is a place where tourists go, but you can actually find fun stuff to do here. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
more worth your time than
Yeah.
bourbon. Because like, I don't want to be like, because I mean, I know Frenchman's already there in terms of like being only a tourist attraction, but like there's still good stuff.
There's
to
still
do.
musicians.
certainly.
Like,
Yeah.
there's still good
There's
music.
still good
Yeah.
music.
I don't
And
think
there's
it- I
still
mean-
good comedy shows at the Maison whenever Dragon's Den has a private event.
I hate
That-
being
yeah.
on the street on Frenchman, but there's legit shit still going. Like Snug
No,
Harbor
there
is
is.
fucking
Yeah.
lit. Like
Yeah, I mean,
And-
Frenchman Street circa like 1997. I know that's crazy old. I was in high school, but that shit was like, there's a reason I could never unconnect from Frenchman.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a reason I could see how it's kind of shitty now, but it's still like
But it's gonna
Frenchman.
be extra in like 20 years. It'll be bourbon.
Yeah.
like
Oh,
because
yeah.
there'll be nothing. I mean, even at the back of bourbon, there's still cool places to go.
Sure.
There's not that much live music except for cover
No,
bands, though.
yeah.
So, like, you can still get, like,
The
shit.
first rave I ever went to was which did you know rave started in New Orleans?
I did not
Really?
know that.
Everyone says like Miami or it's like no,
Yeah.
the first ever official like what was considered a rave, a warehouse
Right.
With
where-
ecstasy.
ecstasy, like which back then,
People sucking on ring pups.
yeah, blowing Vicks in your eye, you
Right.
know, was but here in New Orleans. But the first one I ever went to, I don't remember. What's it? It's now called the Blue Nile. Okay.
Oh.
It was not called the Blue Nile then. It was called Cafe Istanbul, which
which is now
Which is now
which
in
Inside.
moved
Healing
across
Center.
the street. Wait, where's Cafe Istanbul? Is that
in
yeah.
Healing Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the first place I ever went to a rave. And then across the street from that, it was called Cafe Brazil forever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, it's now Favela Chic, which is a fucking a
Is
fucked
that
up
how
name.
you say it? Why
Yeah.
is it called that? What is that?
Because a favela is like a Brazilian ghetto.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
They,
okay.
they just sell, like,
No.
fucking pizza.
Dude,
Plus,
that
that used to
wings.
be-
sucks.
Yeah,
That's where I did a lot of
I
my
never knew what it
underage
was.
drinking.
Yeah.
The, like, Japanese restaurant that was there was cool as
That
fuck.
place
I
was
know.
awesome.
I
Yuki,
loved Yuki, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that place was so good.
Yeah.
Well, like in the early 2003 2005, New Orleans had like a pretty burgeoning like backpacker hip hop
Yeah.
scene. It was fucking great. There was like a crew and they were all excellent and they did shows at Cafe Brazil.
Yeah.
And it was
I remember
like
that.
and Cafe Brazil was still kind of like, it was it was seedy and it had a lot of, there was a lot of like reggae cover bands and shit like that those were great, but then you have just like shit cover bands that would go in there.
Yeah.
They had a lot of 80s nights every now and again. But those nights when it was like only 30 people, but you're all there to watch these local art, it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then you'd spill out and end up I remember when DBA was like
Yeah.
kind of grungy
Yeah.
and like very in fact, sorry to bring it back to another story, in 2005, 2 months before Katrina, the Comedians of Comedy tour came through here.
Okay.
Right? Patton Oswalt, Zach Galifianakis, Brian Posehn, and Maria Bamford was not on this particular show. It was Dave, Dave from The Dollop, the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Anthony?
Dave Anthony, yes.
Yeah.
Love the guy. So much I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Dave. It is Anthony, after all. But they were at DBA, and myself, Neil Stastny, and this comedian named Chesley, who lives in Arizona now, but Chesley Calloway, bro. And he was one of those guys who's like, never been near an ocean, but like talk like this. Like, and I forgot how we found out that they were at DBA hanging out post-show. But we ended up there, and the whole walk over there, Chesley's like, dude, I'm totally going to fucking smoke some homegrown. Brian Posehn. It's like my dream. And like we walk in, and he walks right up to Brian Posehn. He's like, hey, bro, Brian Posehn, huge fan. You want to smoke some homegrown? And Brian Posehn's like, sure. And they go outside to smoke weed. So Neil and I are like saddled up with fucking Patton and Zach, and we're like, hi. And they were mega cool.
Yeah.
Just nice to us. We didn't say a fucking word. They just talked at us, fucking told us jokes, bought us scotch. And then we're like, take us to eat food. So we took them to Angeli, which is not Angeli anymore.
It's a shitty place now.
Right there
on
by
Decatur?
It's on Decatur. Yeah, it was.
I remember that. They had really good burgers.
I
there.
loved Angeli.
And we go there, and like immediately, like the waiter recognizes Posehn. Like, are you Brian Posehn, Mr. Show? And with very nice. And at one point, I'm sitting across from Galifianakis, and he just looks over at me. He's like, "So, what do you do?" You know, I was like, "Oh, I'm a comedian." And he goes, "Oh, you got to get out of here, then, right?"
Yeah.
And I remember taking it as like, I should leave the table. I get it. I was like, in my head, I was like, he's right.
We did start this podcast being like, you shouldn't just
Exactly.
assume you can hang.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
So in my head, I was like, you're right.
I'll
no,
leave,
no
thank you.
offense. But I think he read that. Like, he was like, you have to leave the city and go to like New York or LA. You can stay at the table. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank you. And
You just go get on a plane that moment.
yeah, exactly. You're right. I'm
All
out
right.
here. But I saw him like years later at UCB and at Whiplash in New York, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we met in New Orleans, and he was like, oh, yeah, kinda. Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah. Anyway, glad you finally left. And it was like,
Wow.
oh, you did.
He did remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
He's a nice. They were all very nice people. But I'm sorry, it went off. But Frenchman Street, yeah, like that. I don't know. It was such a like. There was such a time where Frenchman Street was like pre Dat Dog. You remember when that was just a vacant lot?
Yeah.
And it was just like that, and there was art. There was like people selling art in that lot. It was great.
Man, I'm getting depressed thinking about all the cool stuff that used to be on Frenchman not that long ago.
Oh,
How
yeah.
quickly you forget. Like, I remember being really sad that Yuki closed and just like forgetting it existed within a day.
Fucking St. Claude at Marigny. That's the next thing that's gonna turn into Disneyland.
Yeah, we're all fucked. But
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly take comfort in the fact that I think before like Airbnb becomes the president of New Orleans, we'll all drown.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I actively I tell people I don't care if people hear this. I've lied to people who are just less savvy, and you can tell about. I'm like, dude, if you Airbnb in New Orleans, you might get fined by the website.
Oh,
That's
smart.
hilarious.
Yes, smart. You
that's-
fucking hero
That's
genius.
praxis.
Wait,
Yeah.
take out the
That's
part
good.
where he said that was a lie. And
Yeah.
put it
Sure.
in there,
Like, because I'm like, dude, stay at hey, if you want to stay in the Marigny, because everyone knows about the Marigny.
Stay at me and Jeff's disgusting house. There
There
are
you
two
go.
comedians probably still sleeping there right now.
There you
Yeah.
go. But no, like the Marigny's become like Bushwick. Like
Yeah.
people just know of it outside of the city. Like, oh, the Marigny by water. Don't say that. The Marigny by water. And you're like, oh,
By water.
or I've had people say it like the Marigny by water. So
Yeah,
to them,
that's-
they're like, the Marigny is a thing by
by
water.
water,
So it's like,
yeah.
oh,
They're
so
not
I
wrong.
should stay at the Marigny by water.
Yeah.
Like the Marigny is like
Not two different neighborhoods grouped into
Right,
one.
right. But I tell them, like, dude, there's a dozen. I've stayed at like 5 of them, just quaint little actual B&Bs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the sweet old Olive.
Also-
I've stayed like 3 times.
And like
It's
nice
great.
hotels, just fucking stay in a
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah, stay in a hotel. Yeah. I mean, I get the cost thing. I've stayed in Airbnb once in Austin. And
Sure.
it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done it, but I didn't get in touch with the
I'll
Ignite
do
guy.
it in big cities.
I
where
was
it
gonna
doesn't
say I
hurt.
don't
I
expect
think Austin is like suffering from Airbnb-ing.
I don't expect
No.
anyone to act against their financial best interest. It's a regulatory problem.
But
It's
at
not
least stay in one that's a shared house. I
Yeah.
would say at least because I feel like, and I'm not defending it. I don't like Airbnb. I don't like what it's doing to property values. I'm just saying that like the really dangerous ones that are actually pricing people out of neighborhoods rapidly and in an immediate direct way is people buying up homes like
Right.
whole
Oh, yeah.
But like
Rentals,
if someone is just renting out, because the place I stayed in Austin was like the guy and his wife were there. We hung out a little bit when we'd be on the porch. He like ran it like a business, so he had 2 rooms. He would Airbnb it out all the time. It was very clean. He did all the laundry himself. He left you like little shampoos. I don't know. It was nice.
Yeah, that's yes. If you're living,
Yeah,
I
it's
agree
his
with you.
house.
If it's in like, if you had to prove that you live there full time,
Right, and he
Yeah.
did live there full
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and he just like did a lot of work for it.
Yeah.
But it's not these fucking people that I don't know. It's just a less. I know that over time still affects property values,
Yeah.
but not as quickly as people buying
Right.
6 houses.
And
Yeah.
there are some people that own like an incredible amount of like Airbnbs in New Orleans.
That,
So, like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Corporations
a few
that
people
own
that
that are making all this money off of that.
There are like 15 whole home rentals. I've said this on mic before. 15 whole home rentals on this street between St.
Jesus
Claude and the
Christ.
river.
We're all fucked.
Like it's a fucking ghost town during every off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During Jazz Fest, I see Airbnbs in our neighborhood, and we live in the most boring neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
like everyone thinks it's the suburbs. Before Jeff and I started dating, when we would go to his house for like parties, I would be like, Jeff lives in Mississippi. Like
Yeah.
this is the most boring neighborhood, and now I live there.
Yeah.
But like we live in it's Orleans Parish, but it's basically the suburbs, and there's
Right.
Airbnbs there.
Yeah.
I remember when we shot that show at you and Jeff's place.
Yeah.
When like some of the
We broke that stage last night. I just remembered. We
Yeah.
stomped on it.
Wait, that's where Viceland was?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I remember like Wardell and a couple of the comedians and Claire coming in were like, "So are we still in the city?" I was like, "No, we are. This is just
This is just like the
Yeah.
suburbs.
Yeah.
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 I forgot
Technically,
Brandon
yes.
Wardell was in our
Yeah.
home, and it smelled so bad. Yeah.
So
Oh, nice.
you said yesterday you need to be up
Oh
by 4.
yeah, I do. I just checked that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Good to leave or good to continue?
Oh, good to probably We should just wrap up and
All right.
do it because
Well,
it's 3:56 already.
Thanks for coming on the show. Is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, I want to plug you 3.
Oh, that's very tender.
You're special, and this was fun, and it was a fun podcast.
I'm
and
primed.
I
Blow
hope
away,
you keep
man.
doing it.
Thank
and
you, Sean.
You're all excellent parts of the comedy scene here, and I really love coming back and seeing the like little developments and like
Yeah.
that. When you look back, you're like, wow, it's a whole lot though.
Yeah.
And then it's every year this scene gets so much cooler and so much better, and the comedians are so much funnier, and the shows are so much more fun, and this is just great to know you all and be a part of this. And also check out my podcast. It's called 5 Words.
We'll link to it in the description.
Yeah, 5 words. It should be coming out on the All Things Comedy Network, but if not, it'll be out there. But that's where we think it's going. And
If you want, we could wait to release this the week that you release the first episode.
We'll
Okay,
have
that could
we'll
be
have a
cool.
huge effect, really. Yeah.
Well, honestly,
yeah.
Yeah.
every little bit counts.
but thank you. But yeah, thank you for having me. And let's 2019. We're here.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming
Come
on the
back
show,
again,
man.
dude. Peace.